So it's finally here, Mourinho's 4-3-2-1. It won the poll quite significantly, as you can see. If you do want to have an influence on what you see on this channel, be sure to vote on them polls. And if you do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But let's go ahead and get into the tactic testing phase of this video. So, we're going to kick things off then with Chelsea, and I'm showing you this because it's not shown on the competition screen. We did win the Champions League against Liverpool in what was a 2-0 final. And on top of this, we're going to go over to competitions. We won the Carabao Cup and also the Premier League. So, two fantastic trophies on this screen, and obviously the Champions League, making it a treble-winning season. And on top of this, obviously, it was a very convincing sort of league win, coming in with 94 points. Mason Mount and João Felix being the joint top goal scorers, with Reece James with the most assists. Actually going to be a Aubameyang coming in with the most goals in the Carabao Cup, which does surprise me quite a bit. I'm going to be honest, I didn't think he'd get much game time, but clearly he got some, so it's not all bad for Aubameyang, as he's actually the top goal scorer inside of the Carabao Cup. Now, looking over at the data hub, the general performance, we're looking at 2.21 goals per game and conceded of 0.66, with a fairly decent pass completion as well. This is the perfect way Mourinho wants to set up. He wants to defend really, really well, and he wants to get enough goals to obviously win the games, because, you know, you don't want to just defend and not get goals, because then you're going to get loads of draws, right? So you need to go out and score goals as well, and that's exactly what we've done. But the main focus of this tactic, obviously a Mourinho-based theme, is to be very, very, very defensively solid. In terms of the actual squad screen, we are going to go and have a little look right now. So we're looking at João Felix with 33 goals, 22 coming in from Mason Mount. Lukaku having quite a good season out on loan. 19 for Kai Havertz. Aubameyang with 19, actually. Not the best average match rate over the last 5. 13 for Raheem Sterling. Koulibaly with 7. In terms of the assists, we've got 25 from Reece James, a fantastic fullback. 19 for Mason Mount, a player which we've got a lot of respect for. 12 for Cucurella. Havertz with 11. 11 for Chilwell. 10 for João Felix. And still some decent assisters down here. So overall, quite a good contribution from pretty much every player in the team. Some players have got definitely better match ratings than the others, but still a great season. Going over some of the league stats, we don't actually feature in all of them, but we do feature in the ones which we are pretty much aiming to be. And that's obviously going to be the most points per game, the fewer shots against, meaning we were pretty defensively solid, fewest conceded, and the most clean sheets. These two down here, I cannot stress how important they are. If you're trying to make a Mourinho tactic, you have to be getting these ones. And looking a little bit more into the data, going into the goal output, things are looking really good for us with this Chelsea team. As you can see, we're scoring more than the average in the league, and also we're conceding fewer goals than the average, which is really impressive, because pretty much that means that you're going to be in a very good position to win a lot of your games, and that's ideally what you want to be doing. So I wanted to have a little look at the passing, just to get a rough understanding, because obviously this is not a tiki-taka based style, but this does clearly show here that we pass more than the average team, which is actually quite good, because obviously the pass completion was relatively impressive anyway. And we also pass more accurately than the average team. So overall, it's quite an impressive system, this, because it's not designed to be a tiki-taka like Xavi-based tactic, for example, but it just shows we're not always, you know, hitting hoofballs over the top. And that's a little treat. I'm going to show you some of the games which I personally played, because I know a lot of you guys get annoyed that I don't play any of the games, so from now on, I'm going to try and play between 10 to 15 random points of the season. This was one that I picked out personally because we did lose the first leg. I wanted to at least attempt to try and bring it back with me managing. And I did switch to the other variants throughout the game. So I'm going to explain, obviously, in the tactic breakdown when I did that. But let's go ahead and watch this. And I want you to pay attention right now to how well we win the ball back right now. So it's going to be Phil Foden, who literally rushes through the midfield. And it's going to be Lewis, who obviously has a very, very progressive run down the right-hand side. But number 15 can't really catch up. So what you want to see here is Ben Chilwell swoops across and puts in an absolutely incredible challenge. And this is one of the goals I remember throughout the whole testing phase, because it was so elegant. It was beautiful to watch. Into Kai Havertz, into Ben Chilwell. And I want you to take this into account, how calm we are on the ball right now. There's no rash decisions. Just nice, simple passing, and it is really beautiful stuff. Using the wide area as well. Obviously, Ben Chilwell almost acting as a very sort of wide winger in many scenarios. It goes back into Kai Havertz. It's going to go back into Ben Chilwell, and I want you to watch right now. Reece James. He's in a deadly space, Reece James, at the back stick, no one around him, and he can cause so many issues right now. And he does, as you're going to see, as Ben Chilwell actually sees this pocket of space that Enzo is in. And he's going to cut it into Havertz, into Enzo. No one's there, and that is your mistake, Man City, because you have left Reece James completely free. And if there's one thing about Reece James, he can definitely put a ball in the back of the net. And as he does there, no one around him, and a beautiful goal it really was. So that is goal number 1 in this, what was a very dramatic comeback against a full-strength Man City team. So we do love to see it. A fantastic start to the game. And I'm really enjoying watching this sort of 2D sort of period. There's going to be Mason Mount there. Not Mason Mount, sorry, Fofana. It come out with Mason Mount there, but Fofana actually getting in. He had quite a good season, Wesley Fofana. Not like really stand out, not massively incredible, but a decent season from him nevertheless. Obviously, a player which I really hope we get to see the best of in real life as well. Was really good at Leicester. As we go again here with a Havertz chance, and it's just wide. Obviously, that is going to be Ederson in goal for Manchester City. I had a little bit of a brainwave there. Wondered who number 31 was, but obviously that is Ederson. Reece James ball into the box. It's a header again. Not too dangerous there. One thing which I will say is having those 3 centre-halves, especially with the set pieces, you are very deadly from set pieces, which is a really good thing to have, because set pieces do win your games. As Man City here are going to build up a little bit on the edge of the box, going really nowhere as it stands, but Man City can flick it on in a second. But we're just going to keep a little bit of constant pressure on Lewis. Obviously quite a dangerous player. They're playing at sort of around, but nothing too dangerous right now. We're sort of, holding our lines quite well. They're not progressing too far up. Are they going to get a defence split and pass is the question. This is typical Man City. It's how they play in real life. They're very patient, obviously, on the edge. And Ake has actually got a little bit of pace on him there as he goes alone into Kante, De Bruyne into Rodrigo, into Foden, and I believe it was a deflection off number 21, which was going to be, it's Ben Chilwell, isn't it? Ben Chilwell, and obviously Mendy does collect it. But we're going to go again right now. Mason Mount into João Felix, again playing out from the back, which is not even really a feature in this tactic, but it's always good to see how calm you can be on the ball. Reece James gets a little bit greedy there, puts one too many eggs in his basket, shall we say, and I believe it's actually going to be a red card in for Ake, which looked very harsh on the 2D map. I'm going to be honest, it did look very harsh, but if that's what it is what it is. But for me, that was a very, very harsh red card. We go again here with Reece James, the ball into the box, back stick. It's a very good clearance, to be fair. And is it going to be Alvarez on the counter? Reece James, beautiful stuff. He wins it back, and he's actually driving by himself. Loads of passing options into Fofana. A great ball through to João Felix. And it just shows, that intensity from the fullback to win the ball back, playing it inside. And a player like João Felix, who did have not a brilliant season, but an okay season. 33 goals is more than enough, in my opinion. You can't really complain. Obviously, this tactic isn't all about goals. So anything 30 plus, I'm going to take any day. And as you're going to see with Roma, Tammy Abraham definitely broke that record because he had an incredible season. Enzo into João Felix, back into Mason Mount. Is he going to find the space? He is into Aspilicueta this time, who's just going to run at the back line. Maybe a little ball. He should have squared it, in my opinion, but he had the shot instead. Ederson with a decent save. Nothing too special. But you know what? So far, so good with this performance. It really was a great performance against a top team. Obviously, we did lose the first leg, and hence why that one was simulated the first leg. And I thought, you know what? I need to have an influence on this. So I managed myself, done a little bit of tweaking, obviously by using the free variants that we do provide on this channel. And we got right back into the game with no issues. And it's going to be Aubameyang actually finishing it off, who played a lot more games than what I thought, let's just say that. But overall, a fantastic game against a top team, and that is what progresses through the tournament. But they're going to go over with Roma, his current team, and you know what? We had a really good season. It could have been a little bit better, but you know what? In terms of the league, it was really impressive. Only drawing 3 games and losing 3, winning everything else. We also won the Italian Cup and got all the way to the Europa League final, where unfortunately, we just couldn't get over the line. So it is going to end a double winning season, but you know what? It still is a really good season, a defensive masterclass, by the way, which I will show you very shortly, with Tammy Abraham scoring 39 goals and Paulo Dybala contributing with 21 assists. And going over some of the league stats, we actually do have a little bit more of an influence over in this league. Most points per game, most goals at 96, which is really impressive. Fewer shots against, most shots for, and these 2 key ones at the bottom, which obviously is the main focus. The fewest conceded and also the most clean sheets. So we are now going to break down the tactic as well, but if you have enjoyed today's video, please do leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and also please do turn on notifications. And if you do enjoy myself as a creator, please do come over to the Twitch. The link is going to be on the screen, and trust me, it's a great place to be. But let's go ahead and break down this fantastic tactic. So, the Mourinho 3-2-4-1, obviously a tactic which has been highly requested. It dominated the vote poll. And if you guys do want to download all 3 variants, you can obviously come over and be a Twitch subscriber or a Patreon member. But don't worry, it's not required because you can obviously copy it click for click, which is completely fine. But I do want to take a quick second to thank all of the names on the screen that have joined the Patreon or already are existing members. It helps me out massively as a creator. I try and give back as much as I can as well. But seriously, it means the world to me. But let's go ahead now and talk tactics. So, it's going to be the the Mourinho 3-4-2-1. And it is going to be, this is the one which obviously gets tested with majority of the time. Obviously, when I play the games myself, I do switch to the attacking variant and the defensive variant as well sometimes. But we are going to talk mainly about the team instructions first. So then, the mentality is going to be set to balance. The tactical style is obviously going to be a fluid counter approach. In possession, you want standard, pass into space, shorter pass and directness, a standard tempo, run at defence alongside of mixed crosses, and the pass into space is a key one because you still maintain a good pass completion, and it's not all, long ball as we saw with the highlights, but it is a very key part to this tactic. In transition, you want to have counter press and counter, and nothing selected in any of this because it's really not necessary in my opinion. It's not a play out from the back system, so we don't really want it to always go to the centre backs or the full backs. It really doesn't matter too much, and you know what? You could have this on if you really want to, but none of the centre backs are ball playing defenders anyway, so it really makes no sense to have it on. And out of possession, the key to why we actually had such an impressive season, the low block and also the lower defensive line with a more often trigger press. Now I'm going to put on screen right now the Data Hub stats from the Roma save in terms of defending, and you need to see how good it is. As we can see, we're looking at 0.53 conceded per game, which is absolutely incredible. And I do not believe that will be possible without playing like this, because this is a very defensive style, but you also go out and score enough goals, and that's exactly what we're about. And alongside of this, by the way, I do want to point out the tackle win ratio. It might not be like ridiculously high, but 77% isn't too bad. Mourinho's, formations, his system can pick up the odd foul here and there, as you do see as well. But as an overall, it's definitely not too bad. And now, in terms of the player roles, we are going to kick off with the goalkeeper on defend. Nice and simple, nothing special, none of this sweeper keeper nonsense today. We're going to have 3 central defenders. The one on the right is simply on stay wider. The one on the left is simply on stay wider. And the central defender is actually on cover with no custom instructions. So nice and simple for you guys there. In terms of the wing backs, on the left-hand side, we've got a wing back on attack, on cross more often, aim the crosses at the centre, shoot less often, and also stay wider. And on the right-hand side, we've got cross more often, aim the crosses at the centre, and stay wider. Again, a wing back on attack. Moving over to the midfield, we've got a deep lying playmaker on defend, on tackle harder, a Roman playmaker on support, and these two midfielders are, trust me, they do their job incredibly well. When we get into the defensive variant, we are going to talk about possibly some changes. But in terms of starting into games, this is exactly what you want to play because it works really, really well. And although this might look like a negative formation, as you can see right now on the screen, we didn't struggle with Roma either to score goals. As you can see, 2.53 goals per game, which is a decent amount of goals in this division, especially considering a lot of teams do line up like this, very sort of defensively based. So 2.53 goals per game, we can't really complain at all. A great season, and it is going to be down to one man who's responsible, which we are going to talk about in a moment. But advanced playmaker is going to be on support, on roam from position and move into channels, and the shadow striker is going to be on attack and default instructions. And the main man, this is going to be the talking point, Mr. Tammy Abraham. Mr. 43 games played, 47 goals. I am looking at stats on that screen if you wonder why I'm looking like that. And obviously 3 assists to partner that with a 7.79 average match rating. And to do that, it's a nice and simple default advanced forward on move into channels, default instructions. But you know what? He has such an influence on this team. The wing backs push up and act like wingers. He gets a lot of support from the shadow striker and also the advanced playmaker. And he is the real talisman to getting the goal. So do you know what? A fantastic season from him. And I'm really keen to see how you guys get on with this tactic. And that is going to be the tactic, the main tactic. We're now going to go over the 2 other variants in case you guys do want to copy them. I would recommend it. I know I switched between a couple of them in that Man City game, so I would recommend downloading all 3 in my opinion. So, tactic number 2 is going to be the attacking tactic. As you can see, this is the default one. There are going to be a few significant changes. Starting off, it's going to be the deep lying playmaker going on support. We actually opt to have 2 shadow strikers now because, trust me, it is goals, goals, and more goals when you go with them. Everything else remains the same, so I'm not going to show you. The deep lying playmaker is simply on tackle harder. The shadow striker, again, this one is on roam from position. I nearly forgot to show you on roam from position. And we have a positive mentality in possession. We have added, a little bit of a higher tempo. We've added, obviously, the be more expressive element as well. In transition, it's exactly the same. Now, if you are chasing the game desperately, you can distribute quickly. Out of possession, we've kept the lower line because I don't feel like we want to go for high line with this system. But we've obviously opted for a high press because we are trying to get really in their face, really aggressive. And the key element of doing that is to play like this, with more often on the trigger press. So that's going to be the attacking variant. In terms of the, going back to the defensive one, a little recap. This is the normal one. Going over right now in to the defensive one. Bang. Here we go. So, as you can see, we opt for having 2 advanced playmakers right now. We also drop back the wing-backs onto support. They are still getting further forwards, but they're definitely less involved going forward. We also keep the deep-lying playmaker, goes back to being a defensive one, and a ball-winning midfielder who obviously opts on the default instructions, and this is really to seal out a game. I mean, this is to really seal out a game in the last 10 to 15, playing cautiously and, you know, just throwing your body on the line. This is what this is designed for because, you know, I wouldn't go into a game like this in my personal opinion. A balanced mentality in possession, it's going to be exactly the same. The time wasting is set to frequently because, as I said, only use this if you're really desperate for the last 10-20 minutes you're trying to hold on. This is the one you're going to need. In transition, we've opted for slow pace down because obviously that is a real key thing about doing this. And we've actually got regroup on and still counter because if there is an opportunity, you may as well kill the game off with a counter attack. And out of possession, we've got the lower defensive line, the low block, and drop off more. So they're going to be the key instructions to this defensive variant. They're going to be the ones to the attacking variant. And obviously, this is going to be the one you guys are going to download. But this is one of the, honestly, the most fun I've had making a tactic in a while. I'm a big fan of Mourinho. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. If you have, please do leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and comment below what tactic you need to see next. But have a great day, guys, and I will see you in the next one.